What's going on, everybody? Gunner here. I do have a new office. My wife and I moved into a new house this spring. I have not finished unpacking everything. It's been a little bit crazy. So ignore the different backdrop. It will, be filled out in due time. But this fly, I just wanted to share this fly with you. I think it's just wicked sick. I needed something big. I needed something weightless. I'll talk about that in a second. I wanted it flashy, and I want it to be blunt and round. And this is what I have. It's basically, I've been calling it like a polar flash bulkhead. I don't know, maybe I'll call it a fathead. Maybe I'll come up with something like the lightsaber because it's super flashy. I don't know what the heck I'm going to call it. But the name doesn't really matter. A few things to highlight. One, yes, you can tie a smaller version. Flymen has that 25mm Greg Senyo Steelhead Articulated Shank that you can use. This is Greg's 40mm. It makes a really nice kind of 4 or 5 inch fly. This one's about 5 probably. Within this design, you have those 2 stabilizer wings. I love running stabilizer wings on swing flies. Stabilizer wings control the orientation of the hook. They stop flies from rolling or spinning. They keep it so it runs perfectly true, and those 2 wings stacked like that just add water tension and lift that everything is kind of, the hook and the weight of everything is kind of pulling against, and it orients the fly so that I can run a hook up, which is my preference on my swing flies. If you watch the Bucktail swing, the pheasant rump swing the past year and a half, they've all been hook up. That's my preference. And then that stacked strung fuzzy fiber head, use super glue, use CA+ super glue to do those hollow ties. I basically just did 2 stacks, and I used that super glue to pack everything back and make a bulkhead really quick. And I have this sweet tubular, just blunt face on there, and it's weightless, which is sick because you have to understand I'm designing this for my switch rod, which has Rio's Skagit Mat short head on it. And I also have 2 trout Skagit lines as well for my 9-footers. And so within that system for swinging flies, you have all those integrated basically sink tips, your 10-foot, your 7.5 foot, your 5 and 5s, your 2.5 and 7.5, however they split it up so that you have all these different sink tips. And it allows me to run weightless flies fairly deep and shallow and throughout the whole water column, so I get that extra juke and jive of a weightless fly getting hit and pushed by all those different current seams as it's on that tight line swing. Versus that weighted fly, that water current now has to move the weight, right? So the weight is going to reduce the impulse from the water, so you're not going to get as much life out of it. So understand that that's why I designed it. Yes, you could stack this over lead eyes if you wanted it to get deeper, or bead chain, or brass, or tungsten. People always think that's pretty fine-tuned to the recipe. You could, but a few things about being weightless. You get that increased benefit of action, especially when you use a nice loose non-slip loop knot to your connection. The other benefit is casting. When you set that anchor and then you rip up into your roll, that fly's not going to sink, because you want that fly to be able to pop out of the water pretty seamlessly and effortlessly. So as the fly gets bigger, I want that to be basically right up in the film, just sitting there as my anchor, as I set my anchor, so that it'll pop right out and I don't have any weight getting down, because then I have to rip that fly up through the water column as I'm trying to shoot that roll out to distance. So a few things to consider. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully I come up with a name before I post this thing to YouTube. Catch you in the next one.